not aligned with your personality, there's genetic factors that tell you what career you should choose. Most people pick the wrong career. Why? Because nobody told them. I mean, it almost makes me sick. There's parents out there telling their kids to become dentists so they'll make more money when the kid's artistic. No. If you have kids and they're genuinely talented artists, let them be an artist. I had someone Snapchat me. I get 10,000 Snapchats a day. Somebody said, Ty, I've been a classical pianist since I was like 8 and I'm like 25 and my parents are pressuring me to give it up because they say there's no money. I'm like, fuck them. Just because they're parents don't mean they'll give you good advice. Trust me. Parents' interests are not always aligned with their children. You don't believe me? Read Evolutionary Psychology textbook by Dr. David Buss. Parents have 50% of your genes, not 100%. Only you have 100%. Parents will often pick favorites. They will often want to live out their fantasies through you. They'll often be fear-based. Be a poor artist better than a wealthy dentist and you hate it. Now, I believe, and the good news for the parents is, you can become a classical pianist and using modern entrepreneurial skills and modern social media skills, I believe you can make a good living. You might not be the next Bill Gates. You will not be the next Warren Buffett if you're a classical pianist. There's no chance. But who cares? You can still, for you, be experiencing the mental state of I'm living a good life, which is the only goal to optimize. All you people watch, I know tie-in entrepreneurs, follow me, you guys making 100 million, doesn't mean I give a shit about you. Doesn't mean I envy you at all. I had a guy here the other day, I won't say who he is, a very wealthy guy, I think he's almost a billionaire. I was eating, and I had a chef bring me food. And he was like, why do you spend money on a chef, man? You could take that capital and you spend money on living a good life and you could take all that capital and you could make more money in your business. I said, yeah, but I got better life than you. And we're friends. And he immediately recognized that I was right. And he laughed. And he's like, you're right. And I said, what does it profit a man to have all the money in the world but eat shitty food? The first thing I do when I make money is eat better food. That's the most primal need of humans. Buy a better mattress. Fuck it. Let your business be slower. Don't be like, and people are out there telling you, optimize, no, sleep on a fucking floor for 10 years. Well, there's a balance. You can be frugal, but you shouldn't, don't be eating ramen. All you people eating ramen 5-10 years, you're fools. I don't care if you become the next Steve Jobs or not. First of all, Steve Jobs didn't live that long. And he said he didn't want to be the richest man in the graveyard. But he was. Now, he had a disease that probably anybody I could get. I'm not making fun of him. I'm using him as an example. If you let your health deteriorate and then you become the next Steve Jobs and you start Apple, which is now the largest market cap company in the world, who cares if you're dead? Nobody. You will be forgotten. You will be forgotten. People are forgotten. And even if you're not forgotten, who cares? You ain't alive. So enjoy. If you're watching this in your age 18, make sure you optimize for the day. And that's what I do. People say, what do? I say, optimize my day. Each day. I don't project out 7 years from now. I might plan for 7 years out. There's a difference. But you don't optimize for 7 years out. You optimize for the moment. The only known thing. I'm not the dumbest person in the world. I'm not the smartest. I've been a Mensa since I was 6 years old. I can hold my own intellectually. I challenge any person of any intellectual stature. I recently talked to Richard Dawkins. I know these people that are smart. Disprove my theory. Show me why you should, when you're 19, make your life shit so that hopefully your life will be better at 40. Prove it. Why? And if you're a Richard Dawkins type person, you can be an atheist. A lot of those guys are atheists. Not all of them. Christopher Hitchens. Well, then you believe that you could die. There's no fate. You could die at any moment. So why would you not optimize for 19? And then once you get 20, you optimize for 20. Again, you can plan for the future, and a wise person saves money for the future and all that stuff. All that common sense stuff still applies within the worldview and the frame that I'm giving you. But this is, and just take it to me, if you want, I will open the debate for any smart person to try to debate this with me. It's too strong of an argument to be beaten by anybody. I've read 10,000 books. I've read the great philosophers. I know Will Durant. I've read Aristotle, Socrates. You know, it was interesting. My grandma was in La Jolla, the most Nobel Prize winners in the world. She had me with the #1 living philosopher in the world. Very fascinating guy. I think he might have died. He's like 80 or 90 years old. And so I've been around intellectual giants, and I respect them. You can't beat my argument. Now, my argument goes back to, if for those of you who are philosophy majors, you know, there's Stoics, there's Epicureans. This sounds a little more Epicurean, which is eat, drink, be merry, for tomorrow we die. That's not what I said. That's not what I said. I am not Epicurean. I am not saying do cocaine. I'm not saying YOLO, you only live once. I'm saying you optimize for the moment, but in optimizing for the moment, you also predict that you'll probably be alive tomorrow. So you do too much cocaine, you're not optimizing for the good life, because cocaine will increase your chance of, you know, fucking dying for tomorrow. So it's a balancing act of long and short term. Most entrepreneurs, very long term. I've fallen in this trap. I'm as guilty as anybody. I'm telling you the hard way. I learned the hard way, and I didn't learn as hard of a way because I had smart mentors. If you want to, I don't know, become an artist, you better start painting today. You want to play piano? Get on it. Don't be doing this shit. Well, I used to have a business partner that always tell me he's going to lose weight in 3 months. 3 months. He was always like, I need about 3 months to gear up for it and stretch. I'm like, no, you don't, and I can predict you'll never do it. You optimize for right now. You watch this video, go do something. Go do something that brings you the good life. But no, there's certain objective things. Don't, because people become delusional about the good life. They say, well, the good life for me, Ty, doesn't entail physical health. Nah, really? Really? You want to get a disease and then tell me that doesn't ruin your quality of life? Now, if you already have the disease, then you have to optimize around what best you have. But if you can prevent it, and everybody eventually dies of heart failure, just so you know. 100% humans die of heart failure. So eventually, everything I'm saying gives out anyway. There's no perfect formula in an imperfect world. But there is what there is now. And what there is now is you can optimize today. And you a little bit optimize and think about tomorrow, and you a little bit think about 7 years from now. But the 4 pillars, health, wealth, love, and happiness. Health is pretty simple in the modern world. You have to stay lean. You have to stay lean and relatively muscular as a man or a woman. You know, girls want good butts. Well, that's muscle. You don't need, as most women, although there's a lot of exceptions to this, don't want to be quite as muscular as a man. You know, a guy, your BMI should be around 24 to 25. For girls, it's a little bit lower, you know, BMI. You can look it up and calculate it. Now, there's some variance for body types and whether you're a pro bodybuilder or a football player, but for the most part, you gotta have a little waist. If your waist as a guy is more than about 32 inches, unless you're a huge guy like Rome, you know, that 6'6", 350 pounds, your waist gotta be under 32 inches for the most part. If you're a woman, it's even smaller. And that's not so that you can appear beautiful. Forget that. I'm not talking about societal norms. I'm talking about physiological norms. You gotta do it. If you aren't doing it, then you must put tremendous power into doing it. Even if your career is pushed back, you make less money. Same with a lot of people have this thing, I won't find love because I'm working on myself. This is this myth that's being pushed around, just a garbage myth with no statistical proof. For the most part, all self-made billionaires were married young. So you can just, even though I'm not married, so I'm not the perfect example of this, I still am objective and will tell you the truth. Whether or not my life has, I have done a lot of things not perfectly. So I'm telling you the truth. All those people saying, well, I'm gonna work on myself. No, you're not. What you're doing in the Hexaco personality test, which is the most scientific study of how humans are built emotionally. There's 26 facets. There's 6 main personality attributes: honesty, humility, emotionality, extroversion, agreeableness, conscientiousness, and openness to experience. And each of those break into 4, and one of them breaks into 6 sub-facets. One of the facets is dependence and sentimentality. which are part of emotionality. To be happy, you have to be somewhat dependent. People will say, I'm going to do it on my own. There was a great poet in the 1800s who said, no one is an island. No one's an island. So you must attach yourself to good people. You should find love romantically relatively early in life. You're built that way. So if you're going, a lot of women, a lot of guys are like, I'm going to get married at 40. Well, your emotionality, sentimentality, your hormonal makeup will not be optimized for that. Probably the best time to get married is 25 to 30. Below that, divorce goes way up if you get married at, 16, 17. You can just look at the facts. But getting married, a lot of women get married at 38. Well, at 38, if you want to have kids, and about 95% of women at one point will realize they want to have kids. So I'm not saying, there's a lot of 20-year-old girls that go, I never want kids. The odds are, as your brain changes, as your hormones change, as estrogen levels change, as you get into different parts, 95% of women who can have children will have children. The problem is, if you wait till 38, 39, it's a little more complicated. So if you are watching this and you're older, you don't need to be discouraged, because you can just optimize for where you are, and nobody's perfect, and you can still have a good life. But for those of you who still got the chance, optimize to find and become a person who can find real love. And we live in a world that's very detached. And I lived with the Amish for 2.5 years. I've seen that, people are like, why'd you live? When everybody else was partying and even entrepreneurs making money, if my friends in Silicon Valley started making money in 19 or 20, I was living on a farm for 10 years. Not quite 10, 8 years. And the reason was I was learning other things that had nothing to do with money. And I would never change that. Even if I could have made money earlier, I wouldn't, because of what I learned from those role models and those mentors, I have a better life than almost any entrepreneur I meet. And I'm not saying that cocky, I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that to inspire you that if you follow smart principles, you will get a reward. And you probably can have a much better life than me. I'm not the best at this, but I'm focused on the right target. And I can tell you that with all certainty. The good life is the only noble target to seek. It'll help society, because as you make your life optimized, genuinely, you rub off on other people and you optimize their life too. When you only seek money, you're going to create a world where everybody only optimizes for maximum profit, which is where McDonald's comes from, which is no good for society. That's where mega corporations, that's where tobacco comes from. People optimizing to make the most money. But nobody's thinking, at the end of the day, do you want to be 75? It's even Ray A. Kroc. He started McDonald's, 52 years old. He started McDonald's. I look up to him as an entrepreneur for his skills and technical, but his goal wasn't noble. He ended up, it's a sad thing. His kids died of diabetes before he did. No one should bury their own kids if they can help it. But if you create a world where everybody eats junk food, your kids might eat junk food. Now, I don't know the story, so I'm not going to judge that specific thing, but that's the general pattern that will happen. And so at the end of the day, what do you end up doing? Pick a career that will bring you the good life. Not focused on money. Every smart person should not become a venture capitalist or a hedge fund person in New York. I don't give a shit. These hedge fund people, junior hedge fund people figure out how to make $800,000-$900,000 a year, and everyone's like, oh, that's so awesome. They live shitty lives. I lived in New York for one summer. I saw them wake up at 4 a.m. and go to Subway in suits at midnight. Oh, that's a great life. I would love to do that. Spend my 20s burning out, causing recessions, which is what a lot of these financiers did by creating bizarre securities that really fucked up the American economy. And that's it. Nah, man. My mentor, Joel Salatin, he eventually became a millionaire. But he got the good life. He's got health, wealth, love, happiness. He changed the world. He enjoys the moment. He has beautiful farms, land. He married his high school sweetheart. They're still happily married. He's got kids. His grandkids still around him. Like, that's what you want.